Bisexual Mothman Mailman makes a special delivery in our butts, or a classic tingler that I have pulled up. It is off to the side. I had it ready from before the start of the stream. It really just depends on what you want to check out. Classic for variety. Classic for variety. Okay. And then, of course, there are also the option we can go back to some of the Pounded by the Classics at some point. But I am talking about this not a classic like this, but a classic old school tingler that I have locked and loaded, that I've owned for years, that I once recorded, but the recording got lost. So this is where we're at with that. Okay. So we're feeling classic. We're going old school. We're going to go back to the old days of Chuck Dingle. Some of you may have guessed. Some of you may have guessed where we're going with this. Was that the recording full of moth cackles you mentioned? Yes. So that was one of them. There were a number of recordings that Moth and I made. Yes. But this one is going to be one of the ones that was lost to time. It is gone now. But, and again, some of you who are aware of the Tingleverse have already guessed what we're about to read. Pounded in the Butt by My Own Butt by Dr. Chuck Tingle, who at this point was not even a Hugo Award nominee. This is the classic Tingler. I, of course, bought it with Amazon credit many years ago. And I have so many of the original Pound in the Butt of the trilogy, I believe. I have the whole trilogy. But we're going to read this one today, guys. All right. Let's get settled. Let's have some water. Remember that it was y'all giving us gifted subs that got us to this point. That is why we are having this stream. We do currently have stream goals up right now, which the one down below the fireplace, which is the Thicket stream part 2, where we will have a Thicket stream where I play probably a horror game and add Thicket to my beverages once we reach that $500 goal. We are currently at, hold on, let me update it, because it has been updated. Corbin and Axum have both given us some bits today, so we'll save that, close that, file, and save. There we go. We're currently at $115.48 out of 500. And for the mortuary assistant... We're not 50 cents closer. For the mortuary assistant, no commentary, only harmonica stream, we are now 2 out of 20 new and gifted subs away from that. So, that is a one. I will go ahead and update this. Hold on. Go ahead and update the price since we are getting there. We're adding more to it, chipping away day by day. All right. So thanks to y'all. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing this stream. That's why we're not playing Dead by Daylight, even though there was a release today.
I just spotted Mint's eye to the right of the screen and jumped out of my chair. I was so startled at. It needs to be rounded to the nearest 10.
Okay, so Ferret immediately, I mean, I'm going to say cock-blocked Moth on that one there. So, because we are now at 116.01. That was very good timing, very funny. Love that for us. I have a feeling y'all hit that at the same time, but Daniel has to take a moment to read everything.
I ruined it immediately.
Yes. No.
Ferret, you fucked me up, lol.
Okay. We're at 20.
Oh.
Ferret, thank you for the comedic timing and for basically earning me those bits. Thank you, Moth, for the bits as well. Y'all are so funny. I was hoping I could run an ad before we got into this next one. I'm a menace to society. Yeah. All right. I'm just gonna rub my eyes a little bit. Also, Moth, look at my nails. Look at these. They're great. I'll try to get a good picture of them at some point. But right now they are hard to get on camera. Okay. Pounded in the Butt by My Own Butt by Dr. Chuck Tingle. Where does the miracle of science end and the magic begin? Some people would say never, that magic is nothing more than something we can't quite understand yet, but eventually will. Just because a force seems mysterious and exotic doesn't mean it can't be quantified later on. As a young researcher, I haven't been around in my field long enough to see any of these enormous changes take place, but I like to remind myself about things in the present that must have seemed like magic to those in the past. Electricity alone could have been framed in another way decades ago, considered the result of hours upon hours of careful black magic. Of course I know better. Magic isn't real, nor the various mystical trappings that come along with it. Love at first sight or luck, just to name a few. I'm a staunch skeptic, as anyone else with my job, research assistant at Rebel Biological Labs, should be. But even a hardline skeptic like me can't help but feel a little twinge of magic in the air when they first hear the news about Hunter Tuck Island.
Yeah.
The now private island was recently purchased by a rather eccentric billionaire who immediately went to work doing clone research and creating several living copies of himself. At first, the news of the small island colony was met by various scoffs of doubt, but as time went on and the evidence was presented, the findings were quickly regarded as scientific truth. Of course, there are a whole slew of ethical arguments to be addressed here, especially because the clones were not exact replicas, but rather mutants of the original sample, biologically programmed to be less intelligent worker drones. The drones were used to build an entirely new infrastructure on the island. I was ecstatic. Why is it highlighted? Why did I highlight that? Okay. Did I highlight that? Okay, anyway. It's been many years. I might have highlighted that years ago for some reason. Okay. I was ecstatic. Finally, the first massive shift in biology, and I am poised on the front lines of progress. But once the breakthroughs on Hunter Tuck Island became regarded as scientific fact, the ability to recreate such incredible results was quickly locked up tight. I can't blame them. After all, once we have the ability to create these worker drone clones, the business potential is almost unlimited. The entire industry would be a gold mine, redefining the entire world's economy. Of course, the government was quick to step in and put a stop to all of this. Regardless of what a league of worker drones could do for progress, there was just too many people getting worked up about the human rights of such mindless creatures. Maybe they had a point, maybe not, but it was an absolutely fascinating new discovery nonetheless. Here at Rebel Biological Labs, we've taken a balanced approach to moving forward. We've used the early results from Hunter Tuck Island to create the basis of our experiments, but started over completely with the rest of the research. To describe it another way, we've taken a photo of their finished puzzle, and now we are working hard to put all of the pieces back together in the right place. Thanks to a massive loophole, all of our research is perfectly legal, so long as we don't use any exact copies of the Hunter Tuck method, as long as we aren't hiring any outside test subjects. The only people we are allowed to test on are ourselves. Oop, I hit the wrong button. I tabbed out. Okay. As intimidating as it could be to have a potential clone running around out there in the world, it's really not that hard to volunteer for experimentation because, to this day, none of the experiments have yielded any living results. That is, Until today. Hold on, my hair itches, and I am scratching with nails that are not quite secure. Hold on. There we go. Okay. This side too. Okay, that's better. I walked into work that morning like I would any other day, swiping my key card through the laboratory reader and walking past as the door automatically opens with a soft hiss. I say hello to the security guards and continue down the long hallway into the depths of the facility until I reach Lab 243, a highly secretive and high clearance area. I swipe my card again and enter. "Kirk!" shouts one of my colleagues, Dr. Porter, as he sees me. He opens his arms wide and stands up from his row of computers to greet me with a warm hug. "Today's the big day." "I know," I say with a laugh. "I'm up to bat." Dr. Porter motions me over to his lead computer and types a few quick commands. A bright blue display of cloning schematics pop up onto his computer screen. My eyes go wide the second I see what he has planned. "Oh, whoa. It's great, isn't it?" Dr. Porter offers with an excited smile. The cloning process on the surface is fairly simple to accomplish, but not in the way we want to do it. Anyone can extract some DNA, place it into an egg, creating a new version of you at birth that will take 9 months to gestate and come out as a beautiful bouncing baby. However, for our practical application of cloning worker drones, or other specified job for that matter, we need clones to emerge at the same age as the subject. In other words, I am a 22-year-old man, and we need my worker drone to be as well. The problem with this is that the rapid, almost instantaneous cell growth is far from stable. Instead of fully complete clones, we have been creating strange and disturbing piles of lifeless flesh. Or worse. Might have to take big meds and at least still fall asleep listening to Tingle. Yes, thank you, Mint. If I wasn't so interested in science and human progress, I would be horrified. But instead, I find myself in utter fascination with every passing experiment. Of course, some positive results would be great, but each failed trial is just another brick in the road towards a result. Lately, we've been trying to keep the rapid cell growth stable by combining the DNA with small markers from various animals, as well as taking them from different specific regions of the human body. Today's trial, which I have been randomly selected for as the subject, is going to take DNA from my brain, my ass, and a hawk. Brain, ass, hawk. What a combination, I say aloud with a laugh. Last time I was... Dr. Porter shrugs. Last time I was in there, we tried my arm, my lung, and a catfish. And? I question curiously. We got a very creepy balloon-type thing flopping around. Dr. Porter shrugs. I had to put it down immediately. When I hear stuff like that, it makes me slightly nervous about the way we've started playing God here at Rebel Laboratories. On one hand, I do understand that the history, making application of what we have going on here. On the other, it can be a little unsettling. The half hawk, half butt was a callback. Love it. Oh, yeah. No. Almost every weird reference in a Chuck Tingle novel is a reference to a Chuck Tingle novel. It's a whole thing. Also, Corbin, sometime you and I need to get together. I have the Tingleverse roleplay game. Like tabletop game. I have it. It's back here somewhere. Anyway. Oop.
Gotta lay down for bed now. Have a nice rest of the stream.
Thank you, Axum. You have a good rest of your rest. I'll talk to you soon. You have the game? I do have the game. It's a physical paperback, and I have it. Apparently there are 4. There's also some Choose Your Own Adventures. I have one of those. Anyway. I leave and meet with our resident nurses for some time, who take all of the required samples from my body while Dr. Porter prepares the hawk. 6 hours later, we meet back in the lab. "How's it looking?" I asked Dr. Porter. "Good. Very good." He nods. "The DNA has synthesized, and it's already inside the egg." I look out through a large glass window before us that stares into a sterilized chamber, completely white and almost entirely empty other than a table, a synthetic egg, and some injection equipment. Why is there a fly? Stop it. "It's already in?" I ask excitedly. "For how long?" 10 minutes, Dr. Porter says. "Should be ready to come out any minute now." Normally the gestation period takes no longer than 10 minutes. So if we don't see any results soon, our chances of success go down drastically. I lean forward, peering into the chamber with rapt attention. I'm used to failure by now, but that doesn't mean that moments like this are any less tense. Seconds turn into minutes, and soon Dr. Porter and I are relaxed, talking to one another about the next genetic combination we're going to try. It's over. The fact that there were no results at all, probably because of the brain cells, says Dr. Porter. It's just too delicate of an organ. We never get what we're looking for when we try to add that to the cocktail. I don't know, I start. I think that the brain is our only chance. We need to look at whatever's happening in the bird DNA. Other birds have had great results, but the hawk is just not happening for some reason. Dr. Porter is about to refute my statement and gets his mouth halfway open before suddenly there's a loud slam on the glass behind us. Dr. Porter and I jump in surprise, immediately looking to find a rather large winged butt hovering in the air just inside the glass. "Hey there," says the butt. "You think you could let me out of here? I'm freezing my ass off." The rump chuckles to himself. My partner and I exchange glances of excitement. Of course," Dr. Porter says, running to the containment chamber and opening it up. "Welcome." The flying butt flaps its way inside and lands on the desk in front of us. "Hello." "Congratulations, you're our first sentient creation," Dr. Porter says, extending his hand to the butt, who takes it with his wing and shakes firmly. "Happy to be here," says the ass, "but you can call me Kirk's butt." "You know you're my butt?" "Of course I do," says my winged ass. "I'm made from your brain. I know everything you know." A slight chill runs down my spine. I hadn't realized all my deepest secrets would suddenly be transplanted into this butt. I try my best, but I am still a flawed man with a penchant for running out on relationships and taking practical jokes too far. "Don't worry. I'm not going to spill the beans," my butt says with a wink. I nod. Dr. Porter finds himself glancing back and forth between us, clearly picking up on the vibe that's being established. After many nights out drinking with Dr. Porter, he has proven himself to be a killer wingman. He's already showing his impeccable support once again. "It's been a long day," Dr. Porter says, doing his best to fake a yawn. "Your butt can't stay here all night. There's no place to sleep. Why don't you take him home, and then we can pick this thing up tomorrow morning?" I give Dr. Porter a knowing look of thanks, and he smiles back in return. "That sounds good to me," my ass says. "Yeah, totally," I tell Dr. Porter, then turn to my living butt. "You hungry?" "I've never eaten. It sounds amazing," responds my sentient ass. "Let's go." Seeing as it's his first meal ever, I decide to splurge a bit on my butt, taking him to a fancy French restaurant in the hip part of town. It would usually be impossible to get a reservation on such short notice, but thankfully I know someone who works here, and she's able to pull some strings for us. Next thing I know, I am sitting across from my own ass, looking deep within his soulful eye. "I'm not sure what to ask you," I confess. "I mean, you know everything that I know, right?" "Pretty much," says the butt, his wings folded neatly behind him. He takes a long sip from his wine glass, savoring every moment before setting it back down onto the table. "But I've never felt it. That, right there." Corbin, it's important that's the hip part of town, obviously. "Felt what?" I ask, confused. "I have all your memories about drinking wine. I know what to expect when I do it. I know what it's going to taste like. But I've never truly tasted it for myself. It's incredible." "Whoa," I say. "That is amazing. I'm actually kind of jealous of you right now." "Really?" asks my living butt. "Why jealous?" "Well, I know we're both 22, but at the same time, you have so much to experience. Everything is going to be new and exciting for you." My butt smiles. "Yeah, I suppose it is. Like this fucking steak that I just ordered." I laugh. "You're really interested in food, aren't you?" "Well, I am a butt," my butt jokes. I laugh out loud at this, impressed with his similar sense of humor to my own. For the first time in a long time, I finally feel like I'm sitting across the table from someone who really gets me. deep down at the core of my being. It's hard enough dating as a gay man in today's world of casual hookups and reckless flings. I'm looking for something more, and incredibly, I think I might have just found it. That's not to say my feelings for my own living ass aren't sexual. Far from it. The connection I am looking for is something that embodies every kind of attraction. If I'm going to be honest, at this moment I can barely contain my lust for this suave, sophisticated, living butt. Even the features I don't directly recognize as my own are absolutely gorgeous, like the brilliant golden wings that sprout from his back. I feel like you need a name, I tell my own butt. I know that you're part of me and I love that about you, but you also need an identity of your own. My ass thinks about this proposition for a moment, then nods in agreement. All right, what's my name? How about Portork? I offer. That's a pretty sexy name. Portork. My ass repeats aloud. Yeah, it's very manly, but also seductive. I like that name a lot. Portork it is. Cheers to that. The two of us raise our wine glasses and clink them together. Rise our steaks arrive, perfectly cooked and rare as can be. I watch as Portork slices off thin, tender strip of meat and then chews it happily, swallowing with complete satisfaction. And, I ask, what do you think? My winged ass smiles. It's incredible. Suddenly I find myself overwhelmed with lust for this incredible butt. I know this is only the first night we've known each other, but I also know that the feelings I have for this ass are not just some passing phase. This is as real as it gets, and if I don't say something now, I will regret it for the rest of my life. Is there anything else you've wanted to experience? I ask Portork. My living butt immediately picks up the weight of my words, eyeing me suspiciously. Yeah, of course, he says. Anything I can help you with? I question, continuing to lead him along. I can immediately tell that Portork understands what I'm asking of him, reading between the lines with expert precision. The butt hesitates for a moment, then finally offers, I'd like to try anal. I think I can help you with that, I tell him with a sly grin. The second we're back to my apartment, all bets are off. Portork and me stumble through the door, kissing frantically as we make our way to the bedroom. The second that we get inside, I push my living ass down onto the bed and watch as he spreads his majestic wings out behind him. For a living butt, his physique is quite impressive, and I laugh out loud when I realize I'm only complimenting myself. As I lean in towards Portork, I see a massive cock begin to grow out of the front of his body, stretching upward until it becomes a fully engorged shaft. Impressive, I tell the flying butt. Hey, I got it from you, Portork says with a wink. Seconds later, I open wide and engulf his massive rod in my mouth, taking his shaft down as far as I can before pulling back. I do this movement again, then again, until eventually I find myself bobbing up and down on his length with a confident rhythm. My living butt is clearly enjoying himself, groaning loudly as he pushes back into the bed and stretches his wings. Oh my god, says Portork. That is so fucking good. I pull the butt's cock out of my mouth just long enough to tell him. Just wait, and then swallow his shaft completely, pushing down as far as I can. When Portork's rod hits my gag reflex, I do everything I can to relax, somehow managing it to sorry, I have to, hold on. When Portork's rod hits my gag reflex, I do everything I can to relax, somehow managing to let his incredible size slip past my barrier. Now my face is pressed hard against his ass cheeks, with his dick fully inserted into my throat. Portork puts his wings against the back of my head, keeps me there for a while, enjoying the control he has over me. Yeah, man, that's what got me. It took a moment to catch up, but you know. My throat is stuffed completely, no sound, no air, but just when I'm about to start worrying, my ass lets me up with a huge gasp of air. I need you to fuck me, I suddenly emit in a haze of lustful desperation. I need to be pounded up the ass by my own ass. I climb up onto the bed past Portork and frantically remove my clothes, tearing off my shirt, pants, and underwear, while the flying butt flaps around the room and observes my toned body. Looking good, Portork tells me. I give him a bashful smile, and then lean forward on my hands and knees completely naked with my toned, muscular ass propped up behind me. I reach back and give myself a playful slap on the cheek, then look back at Portork. I'm just a bad little twink, I admit to him, and I need to be slammed from behind. I need to be taught a lesson by my own flying gay ass. With pleasure, Portork tells me, flapping down and perching atop my butt. He quickly aligns the head of his cock with my puckered rectum, teasing the edge of my tightness with his impressive length. Do it, I command. Shove it in there. Immediately, Portork pushes forward, impaling me on his sizable length. His rod is certainly impressive, but it's also a little difficult to reckon with, filling my entire body with a swirling rush of ecstasy and aching discomfort. The rim of my butthole can barely accommodate the cock size of my magnificent cloned ass, but it does its best, stretched to the limit as Portork pushes even deeper into me. Eventually, Portork comes to a stop, my own ass completely buried deep within my own ass. I let out a long, agonizing groan as my living butt holds there, then brace myself against the bed before me while he begins to flap his wings and pump in and out. Soon, Portork has found a steady rhythm, pulsing in and out of my rectum with a powerful precision that is unlike any human lover I have ever experienced. The connection erupting between us right now is more than just one of depraved lust. It's expression of pure, unfiltered love in its rawest form. The love between a man and his own living ass. Fuck, that feels so good, I cry out as Portork slams away at my backside with his thick, girthy cock. You're so deep. Eventually, my winged living butt pulls out of me and instructs me to turn over on the bed, so I'm now laying on my back. I pull my legs back, my cock jutting upward from my body, and my now reamed asshole exposed to my other asshole. Portork flutters into position again, and then positions his rod and inserts his rod yet again, picking up where he left off as the disembodied butt continues to rail away at me. As Portork plows my hole from the front, I reach down and start to beat off my cock frantically. The sensation's immediately almost too much to bear. It's a strange pleasure, a powerful, blossoming prostate orgasm that blooms from somewhere deep within my body and spreads across me in awesome wave. Oh my god, I start to mumble, my eyes rolling back in my head. Oh god, I'm gonna come. Immediately, Portork stops and pulls his lengthy rod out of me. Not like this. He says, I want you to blow your load inside of me. My flying ass immediately takes a position at the edge of the bed, his butthole hanging out and over ready for pounding. I position myself for entry, grasping a hold of his beautiful muscular ass cheeks and plow forward to enter his depths. I let out a long cry of satisfaction. Holy shit, my brain just fucked up. Wine. I let out a long cry of satisfaction as his ass consumes me, then get to work throttling Portork with a series of jackhammer-like slams against his body. I'm quaking, trembling hard as I edge closer and closer towards a powerful orgasm, and then finally I explode within him. I grab hold of my disembodied ass and pull him close, my length entirely inserted within Portork's tightness as I eject load after load. My whole being is consumed by blinding pleasure unlike anything I have ever felt. The sensation's overwhelming every sense I have until I feel as though I've left my body entirely. Eventually, my massive jizz load is just too much to contain, and it comes squirting out from the edge and runs down the crack of my living ass's ass and drips onto the bed below in splatters of pearly white. And when I finally pull out, my spunk sprays everywhere, unable to remain contained. Fuck, I groan. I love coming in my own asshole. Portork flutters up to the level of my face, his hard cock at the ready as he drips a stray cum from his butt. Now how about your own asshole comes inside of you? I smile, then open wide, allowing Portork passage into my mouth once again. It only takes a few pumps before my lover is ready to blow, and the next thing I know, he's pulling out and shooting several hot ropes of jizz across my face. The first shot lands across my tongue, and I swallow hungrily, while the other two blasts hit either cheek and then hang down in sticky white droplets. Finally finished, me and my own ass collapse onto the bed, exhausted. Reach over, grab some tissues, cleaning up quickly as I can, and then pulling my living ass close, falling asleep with the handsome science experiment in my arms. When I wake up the next morning, I immediately notice a mysterious absence in the bed. I sit up and look around, throwing back the covers and make sure Portork hasn't simply slipped down below. My living ass is nowhere to be found. Portork? I call out to the empty apartment. I climb out of bed and walk to the living room where a small note has been left neatly folded on the coffee table. I pick it up and read aloud. Kirk, thank you so much for the wonderful night. I really appreciate you sharing so many new and exciting experiences with me. Unfortunately, despite the love that we share for one another, I must now go. There's a whole world out there and I need to see it on my own without a relationship holding me back. Tears welling up in my eyes now. I've been on the other side of this letter many times, writing the words for some one-night stand to find in the morning. This couldn't make more sense, though. After all, poor Torque and me are the same person who are unable to commit. Now I know what it feels like. I turn around and jump suddenly as I see my living ass in the bedroom doorway. He'd just been hiding this whole time. What the fuck? I asked in startled joy. What is this? I know we both have a knack for running out on relationships, poor Torque tells me. But we also know love when we see it. A broad smile crosses my face. I see you also picked up my habit of inappropriate practical jokes. Poor Torque laughs. Of course. Now get in here and fuck me. It's time for round 2. That is the end of Pounded in the Butt by My Own Butt by Dr. Chuck Tingle. So, there we are. Classic Tingler. That's the end of it. What do we think? How are we feeling? I know that Mint is really thoroughly enjoying this, which is good. Glad you are. Remember that if you want more things like this is why we have different goals for the channel. This will be a recurring goal where I will be using your money that you give me, part of it, to buy from Dr. Chuck Tingle. So it's really just a trickle down to, to Dr. Tingle at this point, where we will do more reading streams. That had no right to be this emotional. I fully understand. It didn't, but also, at the same time, hey,